Here it is. All
Need-
right, well,
Need that
happy
one.
I got one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Happy Thursday. I'd like to call to order the June 13th of 2024 West Fargo Library Board meeting. Just real quick attendance, Alana
Here.
and Larry
Here.
and Tony is on, but not as a panelist yet. All right, next I'd like to have a motion for the approval of the order of the agenda, or looking for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Order of agenda is approved. Next we have public comment. Did we have anyone sign up for public comment, Jen?
No, we did not.
Next we look to the consent agenda. So approving last month's minutes and then approval of financial reports.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Consent agenda passes. All right, we'll go into our new business. We have several action items. The first one is child and vulnerable adult safety policy.
I'll move to approve that policy.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
But before we move on to
Sorry,
the
any
vote,
comments?
yeah. Jenna, do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, so this is just an expansion on what used to be an unattended child policy, or what some libraries would call a safe child policy. Of course, we have members of our community coming in and using the library regularly, who are what we would consider a vulnerable adult. So this is just a policy. So we have procedures in place should an issue arise. Certainly, we're not checking children's ages when they come in the library, and we're not seeking out vulnerable adults. But if there is an issue that arises, then we have procedures in place to handle that.
Any questions for Jenna? Additional questions? All right, we have a motion and a second. Did we already approve it?
No.
No. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, any opposed, same sign. All right, motion passes. Next one, we have a collection development policy as an action item. And as I'm opening it, we have the old one linked, and then there's the new one, I believe.
I'll move to approve the collection development and management policy.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any questions, or Jenna, anything to add to that one?
Comments would just be the changes really were to add more information for the public and our patrons should they decide to engage in a request for reconsideration. Adding some timelines and letting people know what that process looks like, and fixing a couple grammar errors.
Any additional questions at all? We have a motion and a second on the table. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Okay, that action item also passes. Next, we have library board applicant statement opportunity. So I think I'll kind of ramble on as we get folks on then. And so we welcome any statements from the applicants. I think we had, was it five applicants for 2 opened positions. And they have a chance to have a statement.
Leanne, do you intend to call them by name so they know when their turn?
Sure. Do you want me to go in the order of, I mean, so I have the names listed. I think they're in alphabetical order. Well, looks like Jim is on. But I could, do you want me to go in alphabetical order here? Or now that Jim's on, I can go backwards from Jim to the back. Jim, so we have James Wilson is listed here, but I see Jim here. You are welcome to kind of introduce yourself and state your interest for the library board.
And just a reminder, you will need to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. My name is Jim Wilson, and I'd like to thank you for allowing me this time to give you a little idea of who I am. I've been a resident of West Fargo for the last 16 years. I formally retired last year, but I've always had a lifelong interest and involvement with books, libraries, and literacy programs, personally and through my work spanning 5 countries and 3 states. I've been involved at different levels, whether for grant writing or for involvement of literacy programs. And my wife worked as with SOS Children's Village and as a librarian with it's an Austrian organization. And I believe I can make a contribution to the library board, listening to the needs of the stakeholders, community, library, and staff. And I grew up in a disadvantaged community, and the library was a real lifeblood for me. So I thought I could give some time and energy for something like this. And I'm appreciative of some of the programs that they've been doing there at the West Fargo Library.
Great. Thank you, Jim. I appreciate the introduction and appreciate your interest as well. Thank you for
Okay.
being here.
Thank you.
Mhm. Is Rachel on? See, maybe I can see.
We are sending invites.
Okay. All right.
There we go.
All right. So Rachel, I'm kind of working now backwards, but Rachel Williams also has submitted an application. So Rachel, you would have a moment to introduce yourself and tell us your interest in the library board.
Okay, wonderful. My name is Rachel Williams. I'm the Director of Operations at the Fargo Moorhead West Fargo Convention and Visitors Bureau. I've lived in this community for almost 14 years now. And so I've worked in the hospitality industry primarily. But one of the ways that we want to drive tourism is by placemaking. So if this is a wonderful community to live in, people will want to come and visit as well. So I love to read. I want to be more involved in the community that I'm proud to be a part of. And so I would love this opportunity.
Thanks. Thanks for being here and thanks for your interest. And Tony is not on anymore, Jenna, it looks like.
He is still as an attendee, has
Oh,
not
okay.
accepted a panelist invite.
Okay. So I see Sean is on though. Sean, if you wanted to take a moment to introduce yourself and tell us your interest in the library board.
Sure. Thanks for having me. My name is Sean King. I've mainly been working in tech for the majority of my career. I'm from Fargo originally, and my wife and I spent the last probably 5 years in Rochester, Minnesota, where I got to use their library pretty heavily. And when we moved back to West Fargo 2 years ago, I wanted to make sure that I visited our library, made sure I used the resources and everything. And I think I would be a great addition by making sure that our library has the money and other resources that they need to stay operational or to keep doing what they're doing really well. And then make sure that everything is used effectively, and then expand library resources as needed to stay in lockstep with other programs that the city also offers.
Okay, well, thank you for being here and thank you for your interest in that, in the library board. I appreciate that. So no Tony yet, and the last one is me. So I did reapply and put my name back in the hat or in the ring. And I do still have a great interest in supporting the library, supporting the city of West Fargo. And then moving forward as we continue to grow and expand and really promoting that. That's a passion and for the library and for our community. So still am interested in being part of the board. We do, so board members, we do also, they were attached within our board agenda, so all of the applicants that we could look through as well. So I still don't, I'm trying to give Tony a little time, but so then we would look to have selection of 2 board members. So Tony and my term is up, and so we'd look for motions or at least dialogue around applicants, and then motion for 2 board. Oh, see, I knew if I rambled long enough, Tony would get on here. Tony, did you want to say anything about your application to the board? Or anything else?
Am I here?
You are here, welcome.
Oh, sorry, I've been on for like since the beginning, but I couldn't make any connection at all. And I suppose you can't see me either. Sorry.
Okay, we can hear you, and so we were just, oh, there you are, hello. Oh, there you
Maybe.
come up. Okay, well, we were
Any-
just, every applicant had the opportunity to introduce themselves and then just kind of speak to why they're interested in the library board, so
Okay.
giving you that option and opportunity as well.
All right, well, I'll try to collect myself here and do that. My name is Tony Stuckel. I have recently, 7 and 8 years ago now, moved to the West Fargo area and had an opportunity to be on the board. I've been involved in libraries for 30 years, and have worked with libraries across the state of North Dakota, interestingly enough, through the Online Dakota Information Network. And and look forward to doing what we can to bring a new library to West Fargo, if that's indeed possible, and up services. And the library does a great deal of programs and to all the little people for sure. And they think they need some more space to do more programming.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm interested.
Okay. All right, thank you, Tony.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just thanking you for being on. Okay. So the next part is just selection of board members for the next term. So kind of opening up the floor for discussion. Jenna, I don't know protocol like, and I know Tony and I are part of the board, like. That's,
I have a question. Do we have any commission representation here today?
We do not.
Okay.
The invite was sent both to Commissioner George and to Mayor Dardis. So here's what I'm thinking, and board, let me know how you feel. I think it would be appropriate, once a motion is made, for both President Hansen and Member Stuckel to recuse themselves from that vote, if they are a part of that motion. And then, since ultimately what's happening is our board is making their recommendation to commission for the appointment, it's commission that is affirming that appointment. I think it's okay to have basically a consensus vote from our library board. And following this meeting, I can double check that with City Attorney Shockley to make sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed on that.
My concern is that just with the vote, I'm really excited about all the candidates. I want to say that. So candidates, please don't be distraught by my questions. But if they recuse themselves and there's only 2 of us, does that meet the quorum? I know there's a quorum here, but I don't understand how that works with the vote.
Yeah, so I think we're just going to say, this is what happened. to the city attorney, and this was the recommendation for the city commission to make the formal appointment. So it will be on the city commission agenda at their next meeting to make the appointment. Does that make sense?
It does make sense that they make the appointment at our discretion. I'm waiting for Larry to unmute himself and share some of his wisdom.
That's a big assumption on your part, Alana. I have nothing to share on that. It would be up to you and I, it looks like, to make the recommendation. Or if we say, if one of the current, if we recommend one of the current board members, then the other current member can join in that vote.
Two separate motions.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Without the commission representative, that complicates things. It doesn't make it as easy as one would like.
I like your idea of doing two motions.
Okay, so Alana, do you have any, would you like to jump in first, or
Well,
anybody?
I went through all of the applications today in detail and took notes. That's what I keep looking at. And if you've seen me turning around to talk to people, it was through my Alexa because I forgot my notes upstairs and I needed my children to get it for me. I am really impressed with the dedication that the applicants have and the diversity in applications that we have. It's really quite impressive. When I first joined the board, there weren't a lot of applications, and I'm happy to see that people are really wanting to get involved in our library. Larry?
Golly, I have nothing to do except echo your sentiment. It was nice to see that we had some interest. It's heartening to hear from the candidates this afternoon that they're interested in promoting the library and interested in getting a new place for the library, a new building for the purpose built for the library. That, of course, is the drum I have beat for some years.
Should I excuse myself from this meeting for a while, or I don't know if I'll ever get back in?
Well, no, we're going, I think what the plan is for two separate motions to be introduced. So
I think
to
maybe
stay.
the first thing would be for Leanne and Tony to recuse themselves from whatever motion is made. Is that the first step?
yes.
Yep.
If you are interested, you don't have to recuse yourself.
Well, the motion would have to be made first, like, so if, right, like, because I don't want to recuse myself if I'm not part of the motion.
Right.
You're recusing yourself from the vote.
But what if I'm not part of the, like, what if my name isn't part of the vote? Then I
Then
want
you
to
can be
vote.
on that one.
Okay. So I guess I would formally then recuse myself from any vote that included my name.
And,
That is
I
correct.
will do the same.
Yes.
My thoughts on this are we have had a good team going, and I believe that my term ends next year. So regardless of how this vote goes today, I encourage all people who have applied for this round and for future rounds to please keep this in mind for next year. There will be at least one seat coming available. And I move that Leanne Hansen her term be renewed for the library board.
I will second that motion.
You're the vice president, so you have to call the vote.
All right. Since I'm the vice president, I'm going to call the vote. All those in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All
Leanne,
those-
you can join the conversation. Oh,
Anyone opposed? Tony, do we have an aye vote from you?
If I can vote, yes.
Yes,
Can vote on this one.
yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, the motion succeeds. Leanne will be a member of the board for the next term. Okay,
with Leanne as president, she can take over again.
Okay,
yes.
okay. So next we would look for a second motion for a second member. And you know, jumping into the conversation, I think Alana and Larry spoke to our candidates, great group of candidates, and just that we also then have a strong team currently. So I would make a motion to approve Tony as our other candidate for the next term.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other comments? All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. All right, welcome aboard, Tony. Thanks
Yeah.
for being
Thank
here.
you much.
And again, I do want to publicly thank the rest of the candidates. Great group of folks. The applicants look great. Applications look great. So please join the Friends of the Library. As Alana said, we will have another term opening next year. And so we appreciate your interest and look forward to working with you in the future.
And I think my term is up in 26.
Okay.
So Jenna has that information. Jenna?
Larry, you expire June of 25. Your term does, not you.
Wait, what? Oh, so next year as well. Okay.
Yep.
That is right, because then I think at our last, when the terms were up the last time, you had both applied at the same time.
Yeah, and that, Larry, will that be your second full term? So you'll have to step off for a while?
Alana's shaking her head. I don't know. Each year
You
seems to
had a
limit-
sabbatical. You weren't on for a year.
Okay.
This is my full second term, and then you came on.
I know I was off the board for a bit.
Yeah, okay, yep, that's right. Okay,
Okay.
so you will be eligible for a second term because of the year you took off.
Okay.
All right, so our next action item, thank you for that dialogue, is the selection of the date for the board orientation. And as you can see in our packet agenda, it is recommended the afternoon of July 11th as a regular meeting date, but then Jenna, do you have any other details that you'd like to add to that?
I think an afternoon into early evening, I did check with City Attorney Shockley, and his office is available to do some training that day. We would also do a little bit of our strategic planning work and just talk a little bit about kind of roadmap where we're going with a lot of plates spinning in the air currently.
Can I be selfish and ask if we could do it in the morning? If that worked with, I don't know what other people's schedule is. My work is doing their fun family event that afternoon, so I can miss it, but would not like to.
Yeah, Jenna, how long, do you want us? Do you have a time frame that you have in mind?
I was thinking 4 hours, definitely not more than that, particularly since it's, returning board members. It can be a little bit shorter, probably.
Yeah, and so Alana, I'd be open, my morning looks great, and I'd be open to the morning as well. Yeah, I don't want you missing your family stuff.
Yeah.
And we could all go out for lunch.
We could
Sure.
do a lunch afterwards. That'd be great.
Tony might have to come from the lake earlier, though.
Yeah. I'll be in tomorrow. So this is the 11th, right?
July 11th.
July 11th.
Okay. Okay, yep. I can do that whenever we need to.
Okay. What time do people want to start?
9?
Yeah, I was gonna say 8:30 or 9. I'd be
9.
good with that. 9? Okay.
Okay.
9 it is.
And that
So
will
much-
be at the library, or will we be meeting in person for that?
Yes, we'll meet in person at the library.
The
Thank
password
you,
is
everybody,
swordfish.
for accommodating.
If I put it
And-
in my calendar from 9 AM to 1 PM, does that sound appropriate?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Oh, we do need so we have those details. This is an action item though. So I make a motion for our board orientation date to be July 11th, from 9 AM to 1 PM at the library.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any additional comments, questions?
Yeah,
Jenna?
just since we have a quorum and this will be a public meeting, should the public show up to the library for that, they would be welcome. Just wanted to make sure you were aware.
Great. Yep. Thank you for that.
And we
Any
will
other-
have our new commission representative should be appointed by then, is that correct?
Yes, hopefully.
Okay. Good. Okay. Anything else? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. All right, motion passes. So we do have our date scheduled in time. Next, we have an action item for approval of the preliminary budget.
Thank you, board. In your packets, I did share an updated spreadsheet. I'll pull it up here on the screen as well. I did include in this one a comments and notes section for a little bit more information on each of these line items. I hope you found that helpful. At the end of the day, what we're looking at is a pretty significant increase from what we had for this year, 2024. The explanation for that is this is our preliminary budget. So just as a reminder, we can always come down from here. We cannot go back up. So we've included in this preliminary budget a 4% COLA, which would be the highest possible COLA we thought that the city commission would approve. Very likely it will be lower than that. So that's an item that could go down. We have also included the $130,000 for carpet replacement on the cost for construction and fit up of a second location. And those costs could be approved by commission to come from somewhere else instead of our expense budget for our 2025. So an example would be capital improvement tax dollars or out of the city's general fund reserve, a combination of some different things. So all said and done, with knowing that the value of a mill is anticipated to be $271,000, we're looking at a mill ask of 10.15 for this full amount. I should say one more thing that was added in here that I didn't make a note of was the city had completed a salary survey. A few of the library staff members were positions that were surveyed as a part of that. I did include it on the very top line. Look at that note. So $8,734 would be the anticipated adjustments for salary survey implementation. The commission has not voted on that yet. It was supposed to be looked at the last commission meeting, but I included it in case they do decide to implement. We wanted to make sure that those numbers were included in that. I have asked Sarah Goshvich, the director of HR, to come and present at our next regular board meeting if that is implemented, to answer all of your questions and to deal with the intricacies of the library sort of being a separate entity, but connected to the city as well financially. So it's a placeholder, and more information on that as that develops. Were there any questions, board, as you kind of looked through this and looked through the notes?
I have a question.
Nope.
There's the notes at the bottom with the carpet project, and I think you put it in the narrative you wrote too. Do you know when the commission will be voting on how will they be voting on how that's paid for before or after they look at the budgets?
I'm not exactly sure how that timeline is going to end up working out. So what we're talking about at the moment is City Administrator Scott will be setting up one-on-one appointments with each of the commissioners to kind of go through the whole city budget with them. The library budget will be inclusive of that. It's hasn't been determined yet whether or not I will be a part of those discussions. I would like to be, so that I can answer questions. But I will say that Administrator Scott has been very supportive of the library and of these projects. He would like to see them move forward. So if I'm not there, I'm confident that he will try to sell them for us. Following those discussions, then we'll get a better idea of how the commissioners might be leaning towards voting on how they would like to fund those different things. And then it'll be on a commission agenda. If it's something that they're going to fund this fiscal year, for sure, then it will be an agenda item at an upcoming city commission meeting. If it's something that's just going to stay as a part of our budget for fiscal year 25, then there won't be a separate one. They will just be approving our mill levy for our preliminary budget. And then we'll see what happens when they approve the final budget in the fall. That was a lot of, I don't have any information. Sorry. It's just kind of, it depends on how the conversations go, and we'll see how it develops.
Are there other questions for Jenna or other talking points around the budget?
I don't think so from me.
Okay. So we're looking for an approval of this preliminary budget for submission to the city.
Move to approve.
I'll
I'll
second.
second that.
Okay.
I'll give
We
that
have
to
a,
Tony.
okay, we have a motion and a second. Any additional questions? All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. And our last agenda item, we have our director's report.
Is that up on your screens now?
Yes.
So we collect comments through a variety of mechanisms from our patrons coming into the library. Here are a few that were collected recently. I'll read those off for folks listening. I told my brother and sister-in-law to come here. The staff is always so helpful, especially with technology. After they visited, they said, "You weren't kidding. You're doing something right here." We love story time with Sarah. My kids are always excited to find new books, and the staff is super helpful. This library does an amazing job of hosting fun events for kids and adults alike. That was a Facebook comment. We've also received a variety of positive comments about our book display topics and selections. I was having a conversation with a patron where they said, "Wow, the foot traffic here is really telling." They were remarking on how wonderfully busy the library was. We did have a small handful of negative comments about our Hoopla service being eliminated. And we did have a couple negative comments about the move of the self-checkout, that we are always moving things around. The self-checkout moved about 15 feet to be adjacent to the desk. And that choice was made so that if somebody were struggling with scanning something, we would already be standing right there and could assist more quickly. So. It's summer and it's been raining quite a bit. We have had a few rough leaks with recent rains. The school has been working to address this. We are anticipating towards the end of summer that there will be some major repair work above our large print and audiobook sections. The contractor says that we will not have to clear off those shelves, that they'll be far enough over that it shouldn't impact use of that space. But of note that they will be in the library with a lift for 2, possibly 3 days, replacing some of the ventilation across the top of that really high ceiling area. We are right on track with our budget, 38% expended year to date. We have our new part-time library assistant hired. Al has joined our team and always has a big smile on his face whenever I see him. It's been a great addition. We also have had 2 summer interns that have started this week in youth services. They have been a huge help with our big crowds for all those craft and STEM events that have been happening. They will also be on all of the Little Red Reading Bus routes as well. So we've been keeping them busy. You might remember in recent board meetings, we've talked about the door count seemed off with some of our other statistics. And so we investigated and discovered that it was aimed incorrectly and then broke. And after having it fixed and aimed properly, you'll see that there's a pretty big jump in that blue line on the chart. We look forward to the next few months seeing how that levels out, but we did an audit, just like watching the cameras and manually counting with everything sped up, obviously, and a clicker. We're not spending hours counting people walking in and out of the library. That the numbers do seem accurate now. The ins and outs are equaling each other much more than they had been in the past. And so I think our visits to the library and those statistics are going to be much more accurate going forward. I think it's really a testament to how much the community is in this space utilizing it.
When was that adjustment made again? Roughly?
It was in March that we tried to fix it and it broke. And so there was a brief period at I think the very end of March that we weren't counting any ins and outs of the library.
Okay.
And then I think April 6th was when the new one was installed and aimed properly. And that's when we saw that big jump in statistics.
Okay.
Mhm. Our circulation continues to be all-time highs and has been for the last 10 months. That's great. And even with cutting hoopla, that doesn't seem to have had a negative effect on our circulation, both of physical and electronic items. That number is still really high. We had 346 library card signups in May. That's a big number for May. We also had record high meeting usage, the highest recorded since we have started tracking it. So some other highlights would be outreach has been very busy. In the picture, this is Cass, our full-time outreach services coordinator. They've been at the Red River Spring Market, Osgood Elementary, Ellie Burger, our library night at the FM Red Hawks, and a few other community events on top of all of the regular outreach locations as well. For programming, we have been busy, busy, busy. Summer Boost has started. That is our summer reading program, but inclusive of more than just reading, because we're offering a variety of other events and activities as well. So we've started our weekly craft and STEM events for kids, weekly events for teens, the Little Red Reading Bus stops, and of course, story time sessions each week. We had more kids than ever sign up before the program started. That was wonderful. And 94 people came to our very first Summer Boost craft hour on a Tuesday. It was pretty wild. As I've said in other meetings, we overflowed all the spaces. Both of our meeting rooms were full upstairs. There were kids in the hallway, and it pushed out into the main part of the library. Pretty much any table and chair had a child sitting in it working on a craft project that day. It was wonderful. But it would be really lovely if we could have it contained to an actual programming space. So we look forward to someday in the future when we have that capacity. Nearly 300 people came to the summer kickoff party, even with a thunderstorm outside. The model trains were a big hit, and activity stations were set up all over the library. People were everywhere. And she's not here tonight, but I did want to say a big thank you to Commissioner Mandy George and all of her advocacy efforts on behalf of the library board, Friends of the Library, and West Fargo residents who use this space and these resources. So thank you, Commissioner Mandy George, for your time, for your service, and for your heart.
All right, thanks for your updates, Jenna. Are there any questions for Jenna? Any comments? I do echo the my thanks, the board's thanks to Mandy. It's been a pleasure working with her and collaborating on just continuing to support the library. So I appreciate her efforts in that respect. All right, folks. Always look to Larry for this part.
Well, I'm happy to assist. It seems that the time has come again for me to move to adjourn this meeting.
May I second that?
Absolutely. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. All right. Thank you. Have a good, I do, thanks for approving or renominating me for my term. I appreciate that. So
Yeah.
I look forward to continuing to work with all of you.
I'm sorry to take so long to get on, but you guys were on the whole time for me. So I didn't miss a thing. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank
Thanks for
you.
your flexibility with our Thursday in July.
Yes,
Talk to you guys later.
yes, absolutely.
Bye.
Okay. Have a good night.
Thanks.